Let's jump into the notable injuries we're tracking. We had some news drop right before we sat down to do the show. Deshaun Watson, who hasn't been practicing with the shoulder injury, he is out. He will not play. It'll be P.J. Walker against the 49ers. Daniel Jones is also out. It'll be Tyrod Taylor on Sunday Night Football. Revenge game scenario against the Buffalo Bills. The good news front, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Austin Eckler, they have practiced in full. Saquon Barkley and T. Higgins, we think both will play. They're limited in practice, but they're working their way back.
They're trending in the right way. Deshaun Watson, just before we went on air, he's been officially ruled out. Yep. So not only did not practice on Thursday, but he's officially been ruled out. P.J. Walker will get the start for the Cleveland Browns. Ideally, you're not starting any one of the Browns in a bad weather game against the Niners if you can help it as well. Sam Laporta, the two ones that I want to bring up there are on the Lions, right? So Sam Laporta, out of the blue, Connor, shows up on the injury report yesterday.
A lot of calf injuries this year. Yeah. A lot of calf injuries, which could mean a couple things. It could be a calf strain, and this isn't the case with Laporta, but we've also seen guys have Achilles tears when it looks like a calf injury. So that's a scary one. Some guys that I've played, that I've talked to and asked about the calf injuries, they say there's nothing you can do. You just have to rest. So it feels like it would almost be a surprise if Laporta plays, unless this was just a rest injury.
Yeah, particularly just this early in the season, they're in a really strong position. Maybe if it was week 18 to win the division or something, but I would expect they won't push him too much. With Deshaun out.
Especially because they're getting Amon-Ra St. Brown back, which helps the passing attack.
Yeah, and I wonder when Jameson Williams gets a little more involved as well.
With Deshaun out, the look-ahead line on that game, San Francisco-Cleveland, was 2.5. San Francisco favored. That line is now 10. P.J. Walker's passing yards are set at 166.5. Jerome Ford's rushing yards, their number one running back, 36.5. So just no yards available for the Cleveland Browns.
Amari Cooper, I bet you Amari Cooper is probably like 45. Would be my guess.
Cool, Matthew. He's 41.5.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not bad.
By the way, and I wouldn't mind taking the under on any of those. Like I think it's probably that's just an ugly game that I want to avoid. But like again, P.J. Walker hasn't been in camp with them. Like he just came to the team. And maybe there's a Josh Dobbs situation, but that's a tough spot to make your first start against the Niners in bad weather.
Yeah.
With Jahmyr Gibbs not practicing this week so far with the hamstring, Lions coach Dan Campbell spoke Wednesday on if they're getting.
Look at my Lions blue, by the way.
That's right.
There you go.
Lions blue and Charger powder blue underneath the Lions blue.
I think so.
Each conference.
Are you questioning Stephanie?
No, I'm actually applauding getting both the AFC and NFC involved. We're a very fair show. Campbell on David Montgomery said, to me, that type of guy, he carries the load.
Yeah.
Was there
do we
a
have
match made
the,
in
do we have the sound? I think we have the sound. I thought we have the sound, right?
That was the leading quote. We do have the sound. Let's take a listen to Dan
Let's
Campbell.
listen to head coach Dan
I'm so
Campbell.
distracted by your shades of blues.
Were you looking at my eyes?
To me, that type of guy is always going to be he carries the load. And the other one is the changeup. He's going to get plenty of touches. That doesn't mean those are carries, though. That could be in the pass game. That could be gadgets. That could be. But to me, you always want a guy who man, he can, if you need it, he can take on 20, 25, 30 carries. And he has been all of that and then some.
Dan Campbell, very old school coach. Dan
Commanding
Montgomery,
presence.
old
Keep
school
waiting
player.
for him to break into speech to Keanu Reeves and the Replacements or something. He's just such a film character. But yeah, clearly, we talked about this a lot in the preseason.
We fight for that inch.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
He could a little Al Pacino
Any Given
too.
Sunday.
Any Given Sunday.
Conflating your turn of the century football films that were kind of not great films overall, but entertaining in their own right.
Any Given Sunday is better than the Replacements. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in Any Given Sunday. The Jamie Foxx music video. Yeah, there's a lot of moments.
Cameron
in that
Diaz
film.
is the owner. I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you. I'm not saying it's a great movie. There are flaws there.
It's entertaining.
There's flaws there.
Yeah.
But versus the Replacements.
Oh yeah, the Replacements is like fun. It's not it's not There Will Be Blood or anything. It's the Replacements.
We always get back to Daniel Day-Lewis on this show. It's really remarkable. Like we always end there.
Yeah, exactly.
The end
All
point's
roads
Daniel
lead
Day-Lewis.
to Daniel Day-Lewis. So anyway, what we're talking here about is Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. First off, by the way, so fantasy Twitter is like just going crazy about this particular quote. I'm just like, guys, we've known this, and we said this on this show throughout the preseason, which is, I remember coming on this show and saying, first off, at cost, I prefer Dave Montgomery to Jahmyr Gibbs. Dave Montgomery was on my love list. So was Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll get to that in a second. But whatever. Like I said, Dave, at cost, I prefer Dave Montgomery to Jahmyr Gibbs. We liked him a lot. I remember talking to the fact that Jason Garrett, our colleague, went to interview Dan Campbell early in the preseason because we had the Lions-Chiefs on Thursday night, and that interview aired as part of Football Night in America. And he said he was at Lions camp for a couple of days as part of the interview, and said, like, they love David Montgomery. They want to run the ball. I remember saying multiple times in the preseason, guys, we're going to look up a year from now. He's going to have 250 touches. Like, they just want to run this guy. He's an old school football coach. With Jahmyr Gibbs out in week 5, David Montgomery, 23 touches, 75% of the snaps, 63% of the rushes. Like, he's going to be a bell cow guy. He's a locked-in RB1. And the last thing I'll say here is that I'm not panicking yet on Jahmyr Gibbs. He's just they want to kill the Lions for using the 12th overall pick on Jahmyr Gibbs, and whatever. That's a football decision, and you can make an argument as to whether that's right or not. But for fantasy, while he may not return the value of what you drafted him to be, I think he's still going to be a useful piece. People forget that DeAndre Swift was a top 15 running back on a points-per-game basis in the same offense last year, and I think Gibbs has the chance to be as good as Swift was, if not better, as a pass catcher. I mean, I know Swift is doing awesome this year in Philly, but that's my take here. I'm not ready to panic on Gibbs yet.
Yeah, and this is a team that they want to run the ball in general. I think that people think that's like the Kyle Shanahan method, but in San Francisco, actually, they pass the ball over expectation more than you'd expect. In Detroit, they're not hiding Jared Goff, but they don't want to give Jared Goff too much to do, and I think that there will be room for both of these running backs.
Well, the strength of that team is the offensive line,
Yep.
and I mean they know that,
Yeah.
and so they
built it.
That's how they built
first round
it.
picks on that group.
Yep.
Maximize your strengths. That's what the Lions are doing.
1,000%. Yeah.
So.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay? Respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.